What's up, guys? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and of course the Sharp app. And this is your NFL Week 1 Best Bet Show. We're going to go over some of the best props I'm seeing here on the Sharp app Proptimizer tool, as well as some sides, again, powered by who the Sharps are on and tools available on the Sharp app. So let's jump right into it with our first bet of the slate. As you can see here, I have the Sharp app Proptimizer open on screen. And our first play is going to be Anthony Richardson over 207 passing yards. Now, here's just right off the bat. DraftKings has this at 226 yards, as does BetMGM with Caesars at 217. More importantly, the Sharp app projection model has Richardson set for 267.12 yards. So that's going to be our first spot for NFL Week 1. As you can see here, this is the spreadsheet where we will be tracking these plays all throughout the season. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this spreadsheet and how I've got it set up. The most important thing to understand is every bet we are putting in is effectively to win 1 unit, unless we have plus money, in which case we'll potentially win a plus money bet. But generally what we're going to do is bet to win 1 unit. How do you determine your unit size? Don't be a degenerate. If you're with Sharp, you're a Sharp bettor. You're not a degenerate. So determine your unit size. That should be about 1% of the bankroll that you have, even 0.5% if you're going to join along with the style that I'm going to do here. We're going to do a lot of bets every single week right off the Proptimizer, and even a half unit play is fine. So if your normal unit size is $100, go to 50. If it's $20, you can even go to 10 for these plays. We're going to do a lot of them every single week. We'll see how it goes at the end of the year. We got a lot of overs today. Normally I like unders, but NFL Week 1, the overs are popping. So we're going to talk this through. The second bet I've got going here is Jalen Polk over, let's grab him. Jalen Polk over 29.5 receiving yards. And again, I like the spot here. You can get on BetMGM at -115. Proptimizer is really good at picking out the best spots for these bets. DraftKings has it at -120 to the over, and Caesars is at over 36.5. So we're shaving off 7 yards from Caesars down to either BetMGM or DraftKings on this play. And Jalen Polk looks like the WR1 for New England, or at least he's got a chance at it. He was drafted, I believe, first pick in round 2 or right at the end of round 1, but he was a very highly regarded draft pick this offseason. He's done well in training camp, and he will start. So, 29.5 yards is not too big a number for a player like Derek Carr. Over 226 passing yards. And you might be saying, Geek, you're playing Derek Carr. You hate Derek Carr. I do hate Derek Carr as a fantasy performer, but he could throw for some yardage here. And 226 is not too high of a number. Let's take a look at his recent results. But we could see here that 226, we're getting a number a little bit better on FanDuel than we are on any of the sites. So that's important. Well, looks like we don't have logs available for him, but I'm going to take it at 226 below where DraftKings, Caesars, and BetMGM have it. This game, the Carolina defense, nothing special. Saints at home, there it is. So he's hit it 2 out of his last 5 games. Of course, last time they played Carolina, he was nowhere near getting that, but I think Carolina will be a more competitive team this year and force him to throw a little bit more. So the most important part is the Sharp app projection here at 257. So we're just going with the model numbers for most of these plays. I've sifted through a little bit in terms of the type of plays that modeling works best for, but we are going with the model plays here. So Derek Carr over 226.5 passing yards. Let's continue. All right, next up, we've got our Zamir White props, rushing attempts and rushing yards. Taking a look at the Proptimizer tool, you can see here that total rushing yards for Zamir, 51.5 is the sportsbook prop. And the Sharp app projection model has him at 71.5. If you remember last season, the Chargers were not very good versus the run. I also think the Chargers are going to be a slow team in terms of their offense. And what that tells me is the game should remain close throughout, which will keep the Raiders running the football. Zamir White looks to be a workhorse. They used him as a workhorse last season. And again, the line on Caesars at 51 is better and cheaper than what we can get on DraftKings and FanDuel. So what you're seeing here, what I'm trying to do is a combination, both top down and bottom up, right? First, we're going bottom up with the model, driving the pick, but top down in terms of finding the book that is just way off from the other ones to bet it on. So here we've got Caesars over 51.5, minus 119. We will be hitting that for Zamir White. Now, that's just one of two plays. And of course, he easily kind of crushed this in 4 out of his games. That's always helpful. The other one I like is for Zamir was rushing attempts. So this can, I mean, I'm not sure if you could parlay this, certainly go together. Total rushing attempts, we've got over 14.5. The projection is 16.78 rushing attempts for Zamir. And again, he has gone over in 4 of the last 5 games. Notice that the over rushing attempts and the rushing yards are super correlated. So if your book allows you to same game parlay that, they probably won't. But that, or maybe do it on like a Prize Picks or some site that allows you to put those two things together. That is totally fine by me. So let's keep it going. So our next play is Pat Mahomes under 267. Under, I meant over. Pat Mahomes over 266. FanDuel, I just corrected that. Pat Mahomes over 266.5 yards available on FanDuel. Again, the Sharp app model has him projected for 291 passing yards. Don't forget that Mahomes has a whole new suite of tools in the passing game this season. He was almost hitting these numbers last year with, pass droppers and Martez Valdez droppling and Mecole and Kadarius can't catch Tony, like just a bunch of scrubs. So we've got a better group of weapons. Rashee Rice is active and healthy and not suspended. You've got the rookie Xavier Worthy and, of course, Travis Kelce in the mix. So we're going with the model plays here, guys. Can even do Caesars over 265.5, but the minus 113 on FanDuel 266.5 represents the best value. So Mahomes over passing yards. That is Thursday night football. So make sure to get that bet in soon. All right, another player I'm loving overs on for NFL Week 1 is Jaylen Warren. I like all the overs, the rushing yards, the receiving yards. So here you've got some props here. Total rushing yards, 29.5 on the books for Jaylen Warren. We're projecting him for 41.36 yards in this game. And let me talk about this game for a second. Okay, new offensive coordinator from Atlanta, Arthur Blank. Remember, but Arthur Blank, isn't he the owner of Atlanta? Is the new offensive coordinator for the Steelers. And what does he like to do? He likes to run the football. Last season, we were all pissed because he kept running Tyler Algier instead of Bijan Robinson. Like, bro, what are you doing? Well, Jaylen Warren is the Tyler Algier of the Steelers. So I think you're going to get a ton of carries in this game. I like the overs. Over on rushing yards, over on receiving yards, or rushing and receiving combo. That's fine too. You want to do that one? Just go rushing and receiving yards combo, 48.5. But I did them separately. Over rushing, over receiving for Jaylen Warren. What the heck is this one? Total receiving yards. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, because we're showing unders and overs. I gotta sort this by edge. So it's messing me up on the screen here. But yes, total receiving, rushing yards, or rushing and receiving. Here on the sheet, I have them separated as receiving, and we are fully accountable here. We will be going over this every week. How do we do last week? We're going to do this throughout the whole season, so stick around and make sure you're liking the channel. If you like this style of video, little betting action, let me know. Does this help your game? I don't know, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Let's keep it going. Next up, we got Curtis Samuel, receiving yards. Now, I'm generally Samuel this season. He's on a Bills team that's wide open in terms of targets that have been vacated by Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. But one of the cool things is, Curtis Samuel operates around the line of scrimmage. He's like a hybrid between a running back and a wide receiver. I want to go, so the props are just, he should get at least 3 receptions. I like the over on this at plus 122, but the projection model isn't really pushing the over. So I'm going to avoid that. And instead, we're just going to go with receiving yards, where if you assume that he gets 3 receptions, most players are going to get more than 9 yards per reception, especially if he could just break one run out. So he could get that 4th reception. Either way, I think he's got a pretty good chance of going over the 27.5 yard mark. So the Sharp app projection has him at 39.9. It's very accurate stuff. So we are betting the over on receiving yards, Curtis Samuel, in this game. All right, we've got a couple more spots to go through for week 1. My next one is, this one feels gross. I want to get a little nauseous even saying it, but Sam Darnold over 229 passing yards. Samwise the scared. What am I, crazy? What are you doing? Note that the line on FanDuel is just slightly better than the DraftKings line. So same odds, but you're getting 229 instead of 231. Squeezing a couple of yards off of that line. Now you might be like, Kev, what's the difference? 2 yards. It makes a difference. You know how many times I've been burned for 1, 2, 3 yards on these lines? I can't tell you. So shopping this will be the difference between profit and loss. I promise you. Do not be lazy. Make sure you have accounts on these sites. If you don't have them, go to Sharp app. Just click these links. You can get signed up and you get all these promos and all that good stuff. But make sure that you have a lot of outs. Now, Sam Darnold up against the Giants defense, not very good defense. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got the weapons on his team. They don't have a very strong rushing game. As a matter of fact, their primary running back is more of a pass catcher right now. So all of that leads to the potential for Darnold to go over this 229-yard mark. I like this game to play a little bit to the over as well. So, man, you're not going to see me recommending overs on Sam Darnold very often, but here we are. This is our life now, and this is what we're doing. We've got three more spots here that are props and then one side that we're going to get to. So next up, Baker Mayfield under 0.5 interceptions thrown. Bet had a 60% win rate towards the end of last season. Let's see if we kind of stretch it out. So it's winning about 50% of the time. We're getting a little bit of plus money to the under. And more often than not, when Baker Mayfield is throwing an interception, it's usually in a more competitive game environment. I don't think this one's super competitive. I think actually that Tampa will be able to lean heavy on the run and not have to do a whole lot here. So taking my chances with plus money on Caesars for this under on a bet that, again, wins about 50 to 60% of the time recently, but certainly over the course of last season, he's thrown an interception about every other game. So keep it in mind, but I think this is a spot where we could get this W. Next up, we've got James Conner over 12.5 rushing attempts. The Bills are a team that you want to attack via the run. Let's start there. So 12.5 rushing. Look at what James Conner was doing towards the end of last season. I mean, this has an 80% win rate since the return of Kyler Murray, a 60% hit rate on over 12.5. I think they're leaning heavy on the Terminator, James Conner, in this game. I don't think 12.5. The only way he really doesn't hit it is if there's some sort of a blowout. Is that possible? Sure, but the way the Cardinals play, they're not going to abandon the run. I just don't think so. I really like this one. I think this is a very safe over for NFL Week 1. Last spot. I almost didn't want to put it in here. It feels gross. Don't trust him. But Daniel Jones over 245 passing yards. And again, let's jump to the prop. All of these plays are powered by the Proptimizer tool. Danny Jones, let's apply it. So you see here his number, his total passing yards number is not that much greater. So he's at 212 on the sports book. We're projecting him at 226, but I felt safer going with passing and rushing yards at 245.5. Daniel Jones, when he's on his game, is running a ton. He's running 30, 40 yards a game. Sometimes he steps it up. So if he pops for 80 rushing yards in this game, okay, then we only need like 180 passing yards. So I like the fact that the Giants have the new wide receiver Malik Neighbors there. They've got a 10 they like. Theo Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson is still there. So their weapons are not bad. And they don't have a dominating running back that is going to sort of force the team to get away from Daniel Jones. So we're going with Daniel Jones overs. Oh, lots of overs today. Donkey bets. But we'll be throughout the season. We'll see how we do. I've got one money line play here, Houston Texans to win. You could also take a -1.5 here. That comes straight off of the Sharp report where you can, on the Sharp app, where you can see who the Sharps are on. Notice here, we've got the Sharp list for this week's Sunday action. And of course, they're beating the closing odds pretty much everywhere you go. So here are the Sharp plays. I am tailing Houston here. It's currently, I guess, -2. I'm jumping on board with that. All of these plays are very much playable. And one last note here, if we're using the Sharp report, we always want to try to fade the square. So the square plays are here in the bottom corner. And, plays I would just avoid betting: Baltimore, Packers, Pittsburgh, Vegas, Rams, and Denver. Just avoid those games if possible. If you were on that side, but that's what the public is on. Those are the squares. Those are the losing bettors who they're attacking. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. If you are not signed up at Sharp app and you want access to the Proptimizer tool, the Sharp report, and the whole suite of tools, the Discord, the picks, everything we do at Sharp app, go to sharp.app. or download the Sharp app and promo code DFSA35. It's for DFS Army YouTube subscribers. It will get you 35% off your Sharp app subscription. It is worth it. If you bet on sports at all, you have the fastest odds in the business. The Proptimizer tool, Prize Picks, Sleeper, Underdog. We're adding Underdog and Fliff, and a whole bunch of other sports books are all coming online. Within the next few weeks, we'll have 50 to 60 sports books in there. Everything you need to dominate at sports betting, and of course a team just like a DFS Army that will teach you how to bet as an advantage better. That's very important words to remember. Advantage better. We want you to be an advantage better, not a degenerate better. So get signed up at Sharp app, get in the Discord, ask those questions. Promo code DFS Army 35. Good luck this week. We'll be back next week to tally up the wins or losses. Full accountability here. Link to my sheet will be in the description below as well, so you can go reference it, whatever you want to do. Can't type in it though. That's my sheet. You want to make a copy, make your own sheet. That's cool. Type make a copy, make yourself a copy of that sheet, and you could your bets that way as well. Good week, everyone.